Hello everybody, welcome to the lesson of today, which is about adverbs of frequency. In today's lesson, inshallah, we're going to see what are the adverbs of frequency, why do we use them, when do we use them, and how do we use them. What are the adverbs of frequency? Of course, there are many adverbs of frequency, but the most frequent ones are occasionally, usually, always, often, never, sometimes, seldom, frequently, rarely, hardly ever. And as you see, each adverb of frequency is related to a frequency, percentage. So why do we use adverbs of frequency? Adverbs of frequency are used to describe how often something occurs either in definite or indefinite terms. They are always used to answer the question, how often do you do something? If the frequency of doing something is 100%, you can use always, like in you are always late. If the frequency is 90%, you can use usually. We usually go to the cinema on Sunday. If it's 80%, you can use frequently. I frequently swim after school. If it is 70%, you can use often. My mother often cooks fish. If it's 50%, then you can use sometimes. We sometimes order pizza for dinner. If it's 30%, you can use occasionally. I occasionally eat fast food. If it's 10%, you can use seldom. He seldom goes to the library. If it's 5%, then you can use rarely. They rarely listen to the radio. If it's 0%, you can use never. I never listen to rock music. But where do adverbs of frequency appear? To answer this question, let's observe these examples. Example number 1. I usually get up at 7 a.m. Example number 2. She is rarely late. In the first example, usually is the adverb of frequency and it occurs before get up, which is the main verb. But in the second example, rarely occurs after is, which is the auxiliary to be. So we can say that adverbs of frequency are used before the main verb, but after the verb to be. In the third example, my parents don't always work on Saturdays. Always is the adverb of frequency and it occurs between the auxiliary verb, which is do, and the main verb, which is work. So in negative sentences, the adverb of frequency occurs between the auxiliary verb and the main verb. The last example, does he frequently wear a suit? So here it's an interrogative sentence and the adverb of course occurs after the subject, which is he. So we can say that in interrogative sentences, the adverb of frequency occurs after the subject. Now let's practice. Please, you can pause your video in order to see the exercise, do it, and you check it later. Exercise number 1 is about the rules. So you have to follow the examples and you have to complete the rules with the correct word. You have to choose between, after, before, and between. In the second exercise, you have to circle the adverbs of frequency. In exercise number 3, you have to write the adverbs in the correct place. Of course, you have to take into consideration the frequency of use from 0% to 100%. In exercise number 4, you have to put the sentences in the correct order. And in exercise number 5, you have to complete the sentences using the correct order of adverbs of frequency and the correct form of the verb, of course. Now you can correct your exercises. Please pause the video in order to have enough time. And in the last stage, please tell us about yourself by answering these questions and using adverbs of frequency. The first question is, how often do you go swimming? You have here an example of an answer. I always go swimming on Sunday. How often do you revise your lessons? How often do you visit your grandparents? How often do you watch TV? How often do you play basketball? And how often do you go to the cinema? Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.